This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I haven't been on a flight in a long time. This movie isn't helping. Downfall, The Case Against Boeing, is a newish documentary feature from director Rory Kennedy, which takes a comprehensive look at aircraft manufacturer Boeing, its shift in corporate culture from priding its safety record to cutting corners to beat competitors, and the tragic effects of that decision. More specifically, the film follows the investigation into two crashes of Boeing's latest airplane model and how the company's cost-cutting measures led to over 300 deaths. It's probably a bit heavy to open the review that way, but the movie does a rather excellent job of telling this story, starting small and working its way through the bigger picture in a rather well-structured manner. It's an approach that gives the viewer an opportunity to relate and sympathize with those affected by the tragedies, most of all the families of the crash victims. It further gives the story here a David versus Goliath sort of approach, or perhaps something closer to a conspiracy thriller, with a primarily linear narrative that follows events from start to finish while still being able to insert pseudo-flashbacks that display the scope of Boeing's actions even decades before the crashes, while still being able to keep the story moving forward. It also manages to stay realistic, in the sense that there isn't a single hero or a small team working to expose a global conspiracy of sorts. The lack of individual stories actually helps to show how no single person was affected by the choices Boeing made, and through this it makes the greater story more universal. On the other hand, the actual technicals of the movie are pretty standard, switching between talking heads and archive or stock material, with the only new footage being short reenactments. Things do get a bit repetitive switching between the first two, and the reenactments do feel a bit unnecessary at times, and they probably could have been cut back or left out entirely. Still, it doesn't take away from the story being shared, which is obviously what the filmmakers want to put ahead of anything else. Thankfully, they treat these events with more tact than some other documentaries I've seen recently. The overall tone is pretty consistent and balanced, with no over-emotional or inappropriate musical stings or directional shifts intended to influence the viewer in one way or another. Editing also avoids over-sensational choices, with a steady pacing through the story and across individual scenes, in ways which don't overwhelm the viewer with unnecessary details or under-inform them about certain events. It's all pretty well crafted, telling this modern story of corporate corruption without veering into tabloid spectacle or hearsay, which would ultimately defile the memories of the victims of the plane crashes. Downfall, The Case Against Boeing. Rory Kennedy, 2022. 4 stars. I definitely say that it's worth watching. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. As always, subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Not much else I can say about the movie, honestly. And I already made a gag about not wanting to fly anymore. I'll just let this video play out then.